Good morning Year 10. Hopefully you've managed to complete both tree diagram question sets from Wednesday and Thursday. Today we're going to move on to the last little bit of probability as part of this topic, which is two-way tables. Now there is a little bit more, it's called Venn diagrams, but we're going to come back to that when I can see you face to face, because it's probably the most difficult bit probability wise on the GCSE course. So two-way tables are just a way of displaying data. So if you're making some notes, it's just a way of displaying actually quite a lot of data quite simply, and it enables us to calculate some probabilities. So we can use the two-way tables to calculate some probabilities, okay, which is always important with the topic we're on. Now the other bit is it's very much like a problem solving activity, so you need to be able to think about it and work through the problem, a bit like a small kind of Sudoku. Okay, so I'm going to do this by doing two examples. So you've got a booklet of 10 questions. I'm going to do two of them as part of my explanation this morning on the video. So please make sure you watch all the way through and think carefully and listen carefully so that you know what to do going forwards. So a typical question is going to look something like this. So you're going to have some information, and if they're being kind to you at grade 3 or 4, they'll give you the two-way table, which means that you'll be able to have some numbers before you start and then start to work your way through. Now all the way through this it might be handy to have a calculator, because it would be a calculator question, enables you to just work stuff out. So I'm going to start just by trying to fill in all the gaps on this two-way table. So if I've got 37 people walking all together and 15 of them are boys, then actually we can work out that 22 are girls, because 15 plus 22 gives me my 37. If 54 people are boys out of 100, then we must have 46 girls, and we can start to fill in all our other numbers. So other is 14 plus 16, that's 30, which means I can then work out what goes in here, or I could do it a different way and work out what goes in there. But I'm going to do 100, take away my 37, take away 30, which means this number here is 33, which means there must be 25. Now I can check that that's right by doing that top row again and doing 15 plus 25 plus 14. I do get my 54. I can add all of these numbers up to make sure that I get 100 as my total. So I've completed the two-way table. It's given me 3 marks for that, not always 3, sometimes 2, and then it's asking me for the probability that this child walked to school that day. So one child is picked at random. What's the probability they walked to school that day? So it could be a boy or a girl, so I'm looking at the totals column. So it's 37 and it's out of 100 altogether. So my probability I can get from my two-way table, 37 out of 100. Now obviously if you're struggling and you couldn't work the two-way table out in the exam, you'd write some numbers in, do your calculation to make sure you get the error carried forward mark. So that's at grade 3 or grade 4. The grade 5 ones look a little bit different. They look like this. So this is question 9 off the worksheet. So please don't do question 4 or 9, though you might want to print it off and fill it in as you're going through. So this time I've got Janice asking 100 students if they like biology, chemistry or physics best. And then I've got some other information. So I know that one category is going to be biology or chemistry or physics. So I'm just going to write them as one of my categories at the top. We always have a total column as well, because it just means that we can make sure we're doing that adding up correctly. I've then got to think about my other category. Well, the first thing it says is 38 of the students are girls. So straight away I'm going to have girls and we're going to have boys, and again we're going to have a total column for our rows. So here I can start to form my two-way table. Okay, now in your book you can obviously use a ruler and make this a little bit neater than me. And so I'm going to start to fill all these gaps in. Now the key bit is, in this we're going to get 4 marks for working all the way through, but there's no other parts of the question. We're going to get to this bit next. I'm going to take the question in order and tick things as I go along. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got to notice that 38 of my students are girls. So for girls I know my total is 38. Now I've used that piece of information, so I'm going to tick it off. My next bit of information tells me that I've got 21 of the girls like biology best. So 21 girls like biology best. So I'm going to tick it, and I've used that piece of information as well. I'm then going to look at my next piece of information. 18 boys like physics best. So I'm going to go to my physics, go to my boys, and now I've got 18, and I can tick that. And then finally, 7 of the 23 students who like chemistry best are girls. Well, that gives me 2 bits of information. I've got 23 students that like chemistry best, and 7 of them are girls. So what I've done is I've put all my information onto my two-way table. So I can now start to do some working out. I've got 21 and 7, that gives me 28, and I need a total of 38. So I can fill that number in there. 10 plus 18, well, that gives me 28, and I know altogether I've got 100 students. So I can fill that in as well. I can then do 38 plus what gives me 100, it's 62, and my 7 to get to 23 gives me 16. So I can start to work through all my different ones. Now, at this point you may need your calculator. I'm going to do 62, and I'm going to take away 18 and take away 16, which gives me 28 boys for biology, and I add these together, giving me 49 children in biology altogether. I'm just going to do a few double checks. 49 plus 23 plus 28 does equal 100. 38 and 62 equals 100. I would check, if I was on the exam, all my different rows and columns. Now that's going to get me 3 marks for what we've done, but I've got to work out the number of students who like biology best, so my answer I've got to make sure I write, and I'm probably going to need a sentence there. So 49 students like biology best. So this would be towards the end, probably on the non-calculator paper, worth 4 marks, quite straightforward. The rest of the questions are on the worksheet. There's an answer sheet as well. Please mark your work, upload your answers, I need to see those pictures, and make sure you tell me what your score is. Have a good day.